Welcome to Countdown to Infinity, a Marvel's Avengers podcast. We talk all things Marvel Cinematic Universe, including the movies, the TV shows. We go episode by episode. I'm sure you've heard some of our old eps, hopefully. If you're new, wow, joining in late. We are awaiting the release of something new from Marvel. Honestly, kind of enjoying the break, but it leaves us void of content. There are no shows to talk about. There are no big movies that have recently premiered in a while. So we're going to be talking this week about some of the top headline news from the MCU. It'll be short, it'll be quick, and it'll be sad because my name's Emmanuel and I am your solo host. I'm by myself. I promise the next time we do this, I will play that song all by myself because that's how I feel. But this is a late record. It's after midnight, so I think that may be why no one could do it. Anyways, you're in good hands. You're in my hands, and they're, soft hands, but still strong and sturdy. So you feel like you have support. What were we talking about? Oh, yeah. So we'll be talking about some of the top line news. And again, there is nothing new until February 17th, 2023, when Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania releases in theaters. So that'll be in 3 or 4 weeks. But February 17th, 2023, that's when the next new thing is. Just in case you hadn't bought tickets yet, which are actually available. So you can buy Quantumania tickets right now. I don't know. We'll see how many people do, but that's all I got for you. All right, let's talk about let's talk about some news. Okay, so the top thing we're talking about is Kevin Feige, the producer and I would say president of Marvel Studios for Disney. He commented recently about superhero fatigue and how he planned on fighting it. So there's been quite a few MCU movies this year and the last year. And if you include the Disney Plus stuff, there's hours and hours of MCU stuff. And I feel like I don't have superhero fatigue because there's so many differences in the types of shows and the characters. And I think Kevin Feige said something similar when he answered that question about how to keep it fresh. He said another way to do that is adapting them into different genres and what types of movies we want to make. So I think a lot of people are going to glom onto that different genres statement that he said because, I mean, I don't know about y'all, but Werewolf at Night was so... I would say it's so genre, it's so particular to paying homage to such a particular thing. Those old black and white horror movies from early Hollywood that I thought it didn't even feel like anything I'd seen in the MCU. And you get the sense of, those big dynamic shifts when you watch something like Loki, which is, basically kind of like a Doctor Who, time travel and heavy sci-fi stuff. And you've got What If, which is really different. You can watch a Kung Fu movie in Shang-Chi. And I think that strategy is working for the MCU, at least for me. I feel like there's a lot of great genres that I appreciate outside of the MCU, and to see them not only in a superhero movie, but with characters that you really enjoy and want to see over and over again, I think that's really cool. And it's a subversive way to introduce something new to something that's going to have a really big audience. I mean, for a lot of people, Marvel movies are one of the few things they go to the theaters for. So, kind of not tricking them, but having them see some great choreography or, basically a new genre. Eternals does it too. I wish more people had seen Eternals because that kind of was a different look for Marvel that everyone should be taking note of. But I can't wait for the future of the MCU if they're going to continually create something new and reinventing themselves. That'll go a long way in the longevity. So great stuff from Kevin Feige. Good guy, He knows what he's doing by now, right? Like 30, 40 movies, as long as he wants to go, huh? All right, the next big piece of news is also related to the MCU and Marvel Studios in particular. because we're talking about some new running totals of Marvel movies to be released through 2026. So we do know about, I'd say, 9 or 10 of these movies, but this includes untitled Marvel projects. So who knows what they are, but these are just running totals, and I'm not going to go one by one. This is just to update you of just how much MCU stuff you can get in a theater, because these are some big numbers. So 2023 this year, starting, of course, next month with Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, there are 3 MCU movies coming out this year, 2023. There's 3 of them. In 2024, there's 4 of them. In 2025, there will be another 4. And in 2026, there will be another 3. So between now and 2026, there are 14, yes, 14 MCU movies that will be in theaters. Wow. Can you imagine? I think that Marvel's always had at least 2 every year, 1 every 6 months, which is fine. When they cut it to 3, you're like, okay, this is good. But 2024 and 2025, there will be 4 MCU movies in theaters. I can't wait. That's going to be intense. And I believe some of that's some Avengers stuff. So it'll be a lot of stuff to watch. I will say, going back to superhero fatigue, I think, I don't have fatigue for MCU stuff specifically, but overall, I might have a little superhero fatigue because I'm imagining these years where there's basically a new MCU movie every 3 months. And I bet you anything, there's also a DC movie or another, like a Sony movie, like one of those Spider-Man verse movies that they're doing with Morpheus and such. I don't know. I may get tired if in that year there's an MCU movie every 3 months. And then, before that, 2 more movies outside of the MCU. It's going to be a lot of superhero movies. But again, 3, 4, 4, 3. That's how many movies you're looking forward to through 2026. A whole lot going on. Okay. Some more news is some insight on Kang the Conqueror, portrayed by Jeremy Majors. He is in Sundance talking about a fantastic movie that he's in. I can't wait. We'll be talking about that more, but he shed some insight on his version of Kang the Conqueror, what his powers are, what motivates him. Surprise, surprise. What motivates him is society and humanity, something that like Thanos, I believe, also was fighting for, fighting for his version of. Gore the God Butcher. It's a very common thing, these villains in society and not liking it and thinking that they're the exception to the rules. But this is what he said is, well, he's a villain that's upset with, a very powerful villain who's upset with society and the decisions that people have made. Well, anyways, his powers all are, it appears, and from what he's said, his powers all are derived from the suit that he wears, similar to Iron Man, kind of Black Panther in a small way, like, the suit, very empowering, works. And so that may be where some of his power comes from. There's some thunder clapping and sonic clapping, which I think we kind of saw in Aquaman and Black Panther Wakanda Forever, but we'll see how that looks. But there's also more, of course, that he does. But what's really, really interesting is the fact that Kang is able to experience the past, present, and future all the time, all at once, which is crazy. I feel like I've seen something similar put to like a visual medium when Dr. Manhattan from Watchmen kind of has a similar experience, I guess, in a way. But I'm excited to see how they portray it in a movie like this, because to experience past, present, and future, and not only how they portray it, but how it's manifested in Kang. You have to be going through that kind of everything, everywhere, all at once style is grating. And I think there's going to be something going on with Kang where he has that kept under control, because it's a whole lot. But we'll get a little bit more on Kang the Conqueror. Remember, there's infinite versions of this villain. So whether or not he survives Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania doesn't matter, because there's plenty of other Kang the Conquerors throughout the galaxy. So that'll be really interesting. Kang, we're learning more about him every single week. I can't wait. Very intriguing villain, very intriguing and great actor. Okay, the last bit of news that I've got for you is for a movie coming out this year, and honestly one of the biggest question marks and mysteries in terms of MCU movies, because we know a whole lot about Quantumania. Not everything, but we've seen a lot. There's been trailers and things like that. And there's starting to be more stuff about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. We also got a trailer there. But a movie we kind of don't know much about, apart from, I think, a stinger at the end of Miss Marvel with Kamala Khan and Carol Danvers switching places, is The Marvels. So The Marvels is a movie coming out later this year too. It's directed by Nia DaCosta. It features Captain America, Miss Marvel, Monica Rambeau, who we now learn will have the superhero name Photon, which makes sense. That's how it is in the comic books, but Photon will be her superhero name. And so in Marvels, we'll see those three paired up, and it seems like, which will, I think, help with hijinks, but also will be really interesting because I don't think we've seen anything like this done before interdimensionally, but they'll be switching places, it appears, constantly. That'll be really fun, but a little bit more about Marvels now that we know that Photon will be in it. I wonder how they're going to introduce that. I mean, it's been kind of interesting how many MCU things are releasing and how they're all being reintroduced. Like Valentina, who has been in movies now and shows, but they're always introducing her because they're not sure, like, who knows who. Anyways, Marvels. I don't know why I went down that tangent. I hope you followed me. If you're listening to this podcast to help you sleep, I hope that, like, my monotone and my confusing long take solo are getting you there. If you're driving, I'm sorry, turn this off. You're gonna fall asleep. Anyways, but Photon will be in the Marvels. Okay, that's the big stuff from me. Again, a very short episode because we don't have a lot of new stuff, and as much as I'd love to, I don't think you enjoy when I just ramble and just talk, just free thinking. I literally only have a notes app with maybe a total of 11 words here. Then it's just nice vibes. It's really late at night, but this is what a solo news episode is like, and I don't know why the MCU is not releasing everything all the time every week, but it leaves us with this kind of episode. But we'll think of really fun stuff. I believe we're working on a Mount Rushmore of MCU heroes soon. That'll be a fun episode. But to hear more, and again, I mean more because there's a lot here, go to patreon.com/delphinpod, DELFINPOD. I believe we have over 70 hours of content there. That's just crazy. And follow us at DelphinPod on all social media. Thanks so much for listening to this short solo ep. Hopefully we'll be back next week with something much, much larger and longer and less me. But thank you so much. Bye.